I love card controls and card forces, but what do you do once you learn all of these card controls and forces? What do you do with them? It doesn't really matter how many of these you know. What really matters is what you do with them. So having said that, today I'm teaching you a really cool trick you can do with a control and a force. Let's get into it. Alright, so this trick is totally impromptu, okay? So you can use any borrowed deck, you can use a shuffled deck in use, you can use a deck that has like 10 cards missing, it doesn't matter, okay? So what I'm going to do is sort of go through cards like this, and anytime I do that, I want you to say stop anytime, and once you do, that'll be your card, okay? So go ahead and say stop anytime. Stop right there. I heard you say stop through the camera. All right, so remember that card, and do not forget that that'll be your card for this. Now we just lose it back somewhere in the middle, right around here. But honestly, you saw where that card went, didn't you? It's about somewhere in the middle, about halfway down. So why don't we just give the deck a few cuts, all right? So go ahead and cut the deck anywhere you want. And now you have to admit that with all this cutting and shuffling, that there's no way we can know where that card is now, all right? So, but maybe we can use some imagination to try to find your card. All right, so do you have a good imagination? You do. You'll be perfect for this. So what I have here are two imaginary dice. All right, so go ahead and choose any one you want. It's up to you, free choice. All right, so maybe they choose that one right there, and I'll take this one. So what I'll do is roll my die, and whatever I get, I'll deal that many cards. In this case, I got a 4. That's very interesting. So watch, I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. So what you get, and this is completely random, so I'll use a real die for their imagination, okay? So in this time, we got a 1. All right, so their imaginary 1 will be 1 card. All right, so between my 4 and their 1, that makes 5. All right, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Had you rolled any other number, this wouldn't have worked. And to be honest with you, this always worked because I got the loaded die. It always rolls a 4. I didn't tell you that, but that card right there should be your card. All right, so this trick, I love it. It's a force that I came up with called the loaded dice force, and I just came up with it one day playing around with a different mathematical concept, but I was like, holy crap, this might actually work, and it does. Okay, so this is what you do. What you're going to have to do is control a card 10th from the top, and there's a few ways that we can achieve this, okay? So the first way, if you're using a deck of cards that's your own, you already have just a breather crimp in your deck of cards, okay? So you can have this breather crimp anywhere, and then you can just doom tricks all night with this deck of cards, and at some point just get that crimp to the bottom of the deck by cutting to it, okay? So what do you do in the case when somebody hands you their cards and you can't, obviously you can't make a breather crimp right in front of them. That may be kind of obvious, right? So what you can do is something called the Infinity Crimp by Martin Nash. So for this, what happens here is you want to get a break above the bottom card, okay? So you can do that when somebody gives you their card. Say, look, you can do it with a question. Say, is this a full deck of cards? Doesn't matter. And in that moment, I've done it. And I've just spread the cards like this. Is this a full deck? Blah, blah, blah. And they say, I don't know. And no, maybe. Whatever they say, it doesn't matter. You're just asking that question in a gesture. And then what you're going to do here is keep your pinky above that bottom card as you close up. And then you've gotten your pinky break. And that's just a lot easier than doing, riffle pull downs. I mean, why do that when you don't have to? Just make it casual. Is this a full deck? Oh, I don't know. Doesn't matter. And so at that moment, I've got my break. And now what happens is I'm going to move the deck back a little bit, maintaining that break with my thumb there, right? So move the deck back into your hand, sort of like in a cop position right now. And so what you're going to do here is move the deck forward again. And this action is just sort of like squaring the deck up, right? But what you're going to do is move the deck back, keep that card in sort of in a cop position as you move it forward. And the reason for this is because you're going to contact this card with the tip of your thumb here. And rather than moving down, this hand moving down, this hand is going to move up. And what's going to happen is that you're going to put a crimp in that card. I'll move the deck out of the way so you can see what's happening here. Imagine I'm holding the deck here. You move this hand up, and you do this, making a crimp in that card. Just press it down on your thumb. And that's totally invisible from the front. It just looks like you're, squaring the deck up. But I'm putting the crimp in right now as I'm squaring the deck up like this. And so that accomplishes the same thing as a breather crimp, all right? So when it's in the middle of the deck, you can just cut right to it. So obviously you want to make sure you get this thing down smoothly, and you don't want to be sitting there doing this. Okay, hold on, I'll do the trick in a minute. Okay, got it. You don't want to be doing that. You don't want to look awkward. It should be just a smooth flowy action like this, and just looks like you're doing something with the cards. Okay, so you have your infinity on the bottom of the deck, and now you're going to transfer 9 cards to the bottom of the deck. And this is how you do that. You do it very casually. You see, look, in a moment, I'm going to go through cards like this, and you're just going to say stop anytime that I do that. And notice what I've done there. I've put 9 cards down, and I do it in threes, okay? So watch, in a moment, I'm going to throw cards down, and you're just going to say stop anytime you want, all right? So 3, 6, 9, all right? Just do 3 batches of 3, and that'll give you 9 cards on the bottom. So after you do that, you're just going to say stop anytime as I do that, and drop the deck down and pick it up and say, okay, just say stop anytime. And so when they say stop, what you're going to do is show them this card on top and say, remember that card. All right, that is your card. Look, a butterfly there, and that is your card. All right, so now look, what you're going to do here is put this card back on top of here and spread over a few cards like this and put them down, and then put all these on top. So now that crimped card is going 10 above their card, okay? So boom, there's their card, and the crimp is now 9 cards above here, so put that down. So now, when you square the deck up, you can say, look, now we know about where that card is. It's about somewhere in the middle of the deck, so why don't we give it some cuts? And now here, when you're saying that, you just cut to your crimp. And so you do that. Go ahead and give it a cut too, and they can really cut it. All right, so when they cut it, all you're going to do again is cut to the crimp again to say, now you got to agree, cut to my crimp. All right, so you got to agree that there's no way nobody can know where that card is now. But now, because the crimp was 9 above the bottom, now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and that's their card because you cut to the crimp. But any way that you want to get the card 10th from top is totally okay. It's totally up to you, but that's where you want to be for this. But I think that's the best and easiest way to do it. And doing it this way, you can control a card pretty much anywhere, with that demonstration in the beginning. Say you wanted the card to be, 15 from top, and do 14 cards in your demonstration. It's always one less than your target number in your little demo there, and you can really control cards anywhere just by using a breather crimp. Alright, so now that the card is 10 from top, you are now ready to do the loaded dice force. And this is what you do. You say, do you have a good imagination? Yes, you do. Perfect. You'll be awesome for this. So you pull out 2 imaginary dice from your pocket, and this is always fun, right? And choose any one you want. It's up to you. Don't drop it. They're hard to find. All right, just have fun with it. It's always a fun little thing there when you introduce imaginary invisible dice, right? So they choose any one of them, and it's important here that you do this, which you'll see in a moment. All right, so you have the 2 die. They pick any one they want, and you'll take that one. Now you say, look, I'll roll first, and your roll is always going to be a 4. All right, so you're going to roll a 4. So I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. Now at this point, their card is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 from top. Okay, so a die has 6 sides, and we have multiple outs. All right, so this is how this works. So let's go from the top here. I'll explain to you all of the things you need to do with the different numbers they want to roll. And already 4 was eliminated because you already rolled a 4. Roll a different number than 4. All right, so already they're not going to roll a 4 anyway. If they roll a 1 like they did in that performance, say, look, perfect, we'll roll a 1 right there. Boom. Now look, my 4 plus your 1 makes 5, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Guess what? It's right there, right? Because 5 plus 5 is 10, obviously. Okay, so it's very easy to remember because you always know it's at 10, and addition is very easy. So if they happen to roll a 2, guess what? You have a loaded die. All right. So if they roll a 2, you go boom, boom. You say, like, I'll roll again. And you know what I didn't tell you in the beginning is I'm always using a loaded die, and it's always going to roll a 4 no matter what. See, watch. There's a 4, and then you just go 1, 2, 3, and 4, right, for your loaded die, and it's going to be their card, which is always a fun thing because how could an imaginary die be loaded? So it's hilarious. All right, so for a 3, it's also really fun. All right, so a 3. All right, so we'll go 1, 2, 3 for your 3, and see, I'll roll one more time. I'll roll mine. Oh no, wait, I got a 3 too. Check this out. That's a 1, 2, 3. No, I really did. That's your card. So you can start to see that these are actually really easy to remember because the hooks behind them are really fun, and when you practice this enough, you'll remember them easily. All right. So moving on, we'll do the 5. Okay. Now with 5, this one's also it's automatic. There's no brain work behind it. If they roll a 5, you've already rolled a 4, obviously. So you go, oh well, your 5 goes like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now boom, there's our card. This is so easy and it's like so great. I can't believe it hasn't been done before. Obviously, if they roll a 6, it's already a 6 away, guys. So you're on top of your 4. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And it doesn't get much better than that in terms of a self-working force with numbers that they get to roll in their head, right? So I love this thing. And by the way, this loaded dice force is going to appear in actually 2 projects that I have coming up. And so be on the lookout for those projects. And so that's the trick, guys. Maybe we'll go through one more scenario. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, it's always 10 from top. And so look, in your case, you always roll a 4. I'll go first. Boom. There's a 4. We go 1, 2, 3, 4. What do you get? What do you get in your imagination when you roll a die? Oh, a 1. So we go 1. 4 plus 1. That's 5. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That should be your card. You know, I love this thing, and I really hope you like it too, and I think you will have a lot of fun with it. Alright guys, so as always, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. It truly does mean the world to me. And so if you learned something new and if you got value from this video, do me a huge favor and hit that like button and sub to the channel. Until next time, happy practicing. I love you guys.